So Trump won in New Hampshire and beat Nikki Haley in the Republican primary. And maybe even more interesting than the results, because I don't think it was that surprising, is the reaction to the results. I mean, maybe how close she got is surprising when you figure out how they voted and how the primary was semi-open. It's really, I guess, not as surprising. I didn't know that beforehand, but everybody's reaction was interesting, and I just wanted to talk about it. So I'm here to do that. God bless you guys. Dream Rare Podcast starts now. Hope you enjoy.
It's the Dream Rare Podcast. Welcome to the show. The way to get the news at the desk or on the road. Let's go. God is great and success in our control. The world is crazy, but we get better from obstacles.
What's going on Facebook? What's going on YouTube? Hopefully we're live and possibly live on Rumble. I'm going to check real quick. Let's see if we're live on Rumble. No dice. We'll try Rumble again another time, but all good. As long as we're here on YouTube and Facebook, then we'll start. Sorry about the slow roll into today. Let's see. Are we even live on Facebook? Yeah, there we go. What a joke. Anyway, so yeah, I'm not going to talk about Nikki Haley's personal life today. I see some of the comments, but I'm not trying to get into that right now. All right. So yesterday they had the New Hampshire primary, and I just assumed Trump would win by a lot, but I didn't realize that it was a open or semi-open primary where independents and unregistered voters can vote in the Republican primary. So that makes it a little harder. Trump won anyway. And I wanted to talk about the Republican response to Trump winning, because I find sometimes that's where I kind of divert from a lot of other people, and I don't do it purposely, but say in 2016, right? I'm going to start with something easier to comprehend, because then I'll lose everybody and they'll spiral on me. In 2016, when Trump won, it was the reaction to Trump winning that was crazier than Trump winning. I didn't think Trump would win. I thought Hillary was like so in the bag establishment that there's no way that she would lose, but I was wrong. Trump won the election. And I remember I was around a bunch of my friends who like Trump a lot more than me at the time. So it's not like I was never like a liberal that was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I was just like, damn. And all my friends were super pumped. I did like a 2016 watch party, right? And they're all like, yeah, Trump. They were so pumped. And I was like, really? No way. That's crazy. That was kind of my reaction. And then you had like the crying liberal in the street, like, no. And then from that point on, people just lost their mind. And it's hard to explain to people that lost their mind over the election that they lost their mind, because they don't see it. Like, you understand what I'm saying? It's not the fact that Trump won that was that crazy. It was just the fact that everyone reacted so weird. And when everyone does something in unison, they just assume that they're right. It's like, we can't all be wrong. We can't all be wrong about Trump being a fascist. And it's like, what if you all were wrong, though? And now on the Republican side, I see a lot of the same stuff where I would say the point that I woke up out of this like cyclical slumber that everyone was in, because I don't know that I was ever in it, but let's just say I was. It was during COVID, and it was just like everybody was saying the same things, but nothing actually made sense to me. For a while, it did make sense. It's like, I'm meeting with Kim Jong-un. Yeah, that's cool. Putin's not who they say he is. And even though he's a bad guy, there's bad guys in America, and I'm going to do a deal with him. It's like, okay, that makes sense. Like, I'm going to do the trade deals. That makes sense. I'm going to do this. That makes sense. And then during COVID, it was like, I'm going to do 15 days to slow the spread. Well, that's a little weird. I'm going to extend it. That's really weird. Georgia should stay locked down. I don't agree with that. Sweden should be locked down, said Trump. And everyone's like, yeah, MAGA, Sweden should be locked down. And I was like, what? So from that point on, it's been like people who like, I feel like the right wing has turned into like NPCs, where, for those who don't know what that means, non-playable character, where they're just kind of like, liberals in a sense, where they're like mindless, like, drones. And from that point on until now, there's been like 100 times. It's almost every day, to be honest. And I know it's made me, in some ways, popular among many. I like, my career has not suffered really, but in many ways, it's also made me unpopular among people who used to like me, because they are just like, oh, you're just a contrarian. You just try to disagree with everyone all the time. And it's like, no, really, I just literally don't agree with everyone all the time. Like when that Mules documentary came out, everyone was like, this is amazing. I was like, I don't see it. I don't see how that's going to change anything. And I also, I think it's like dramatized, flimsy evidence based off cell phone ping data. Like it could be an Uber Eats driver just driving in 300 places. I'm not sold. But how do you tell that to people? You look crazy. You look like a rhino or a Democrat. So I just like sometimes, I mean, I always say what I think, but sometimes I'm just like, I won't say that now. Or like, I'll just, I'll try to like softball it or else people will yell at me. And last night, I'm just trying to like walk you through this process because I know if I just come out this way, a lot of people won't understand, but some will. Um, Last night was the same way, right? Trump won the primary. Okay. He won by, I don't know, 9 points, 10 points, something not as much as the other state, but enough where he won. And I just saw everybody that likes Trump just saying, "Oh, that they cheated. The Democrats cheated. They cheated. Nikki Haley cheated." And it's like the primary states that you can vote if you're unregistered, independent, or Republican. So if I lived in New Hampshire, I'd probably register as an independent or unregistered so I could vote in whatever primary I wanted. And honestly, that's there's a way that Republicans could actually utilize this. It's like ballot harvesting. Ballot harvesting is legal in a lot of states. It's literally legal. But you got to look up what ballot harvesting means. It might not mean what you think it means, but that is legal. So Democrats are doing it and they're using it in their favor. And Republicans, they don't do it, and then they complain about it after as if it's not part of the game. So when I saw the results of the New Hampshire primary, I didn't know that it was like a semi-open primary. But then I'm like, oh, everyone's screaming that they're not allowed to switch registration or unregister and vote, and that's cheating somehow. And it's actually not, though. It's just strategic. Like I wasn't registered in 2016 in any party. I don't think I ever voted in my life, but I didn't like Hillary Clinton and I registered as a Democrat to vote for Bernie Sanders. That wasn't illegal. I can register which way I want. And, eventually I unregistered because I never really liked the Democratic Party. Even then, I wasn't like a Democrat. I was trying to essentially like upend the Democratic Party with a candidate that I thought wasn't part of the Democratic Party. I bought into this idea that Bernie was like an independent and he was just here to buck the system. And now I'm a registered Republican. But if I lived in New Hampshire, I would just be unregistered or independent. This way I could vote however I wanted. It doesn't really matter. So this is the point that I'm trying to make. Someone said, "Who is Hillary? Shut up." Are you like drunk or something? Like, are you okay? I don't know. Maybe it's 3:26 your time, but it's 12:26 here. Why are you screaming, "Who is Hillary?" spelled wrong in all caps? Shut up. Hillary is Hillary Clinton. She was a Secretary of State under Obama, and she ran against Donald Trump and lost in the 2016 election. If you're not sure who she is, Google is not your friend, but it can be in this instance. Anyway, so it's like I'm coming to the conclusion that a lot of Republican influencers, they're just trying to like waste your time and capitalize off the chaos because Trump won the New Hampshire primary, right? I look at all this stuff and it's like, does what everyone's complaining about tonight actually matter? Like, when's the next time it's going to matter complaining about the New Hampshire open primary, which is literally part of how it's like run? Like, what they could do is they could run a Republican as a Democrat and they could all go independent and they could get a Republican to win the Democratic primary. Like, that's chess. It's legal there. It's part of their rule. It's not a closed primary. It's not only for Republicans. Anyone can vote as long as they're unregistered or independent. So Democrats and other people strategically did that. Why don't Republicans do that instead of complaining about stuff that makes sense? And then I saw them share this clip and they're like, look, this is proof that they cheated for Nikki Haley. It's not, there's nothing illegal about this at all. You're allowed to do this, and Republicans should do this in the Democratic primary since it's legal there. I don't like the outrage is like so fake. And there's people in the comments too. Most people get it, but like this one guy's like crying about stuff. The reason I think that they're feeding you this stuff is because they know that they make the most money off you when you're pissed off all the time. So like if they can keep you in this cycle of like aimless outrage, then there's always something for them to get a headline off of, because it doesn't actually make sense. It's like in November, Trump is going to need to beat Joe Biden in New Hampshire. Trump lost New Hampshire to Hillary Clinton. Trump lost New Hampshire to, Joe Biden. I don't know if it's the most important state or anything, but in general, it's like everyone can vote in the November election. Independents can vote, Democrats can vote, Republicans can vote. Why would every right-wing influencer in unison be saying Democrats cheated when they didn't cheat, becoming the boy who cried wolf? So when they actually do cheat, which they most likely will, you're never going to be able to figure out how they cheated because Charlie Kirk and these other people are just yelling things in unison. Like he shared this clip and everyone under it's like, see, that's proof. This is proof that Democrats unregistered to vote for Nikki Haley. You don't have to like it, but there's nothing illegal about this. Literally, Republicans can do the same exact thing, and it's according to the rules. Here's the clip that Charlie played as a bombshell, which means literally nothing for the general election.
Nikki Haley.
And why did you vote for Nikki Haley?
It's a vote against Trump. I think it would be better to have her against Biden in the elections than it would be Trump and her.
Do you consider yourself generally independent, Republican, or Democrat?
Democrat.
So when you undeclared, you voted for Nikki Haley. If it was Nikki Haley against Joe Biden in a general election, who are you voting for?
Joe Biden.
So Charlie shared that video. It's like, see, this is like proof that they're cheating or look what they did. And it's like, yeah, no, that guy's a Democrat who unregistered or stayed unregistered or went off registration or independent in order to vote in the Republican primary. I understand why people are annoyed because he's not a Republican, but that's legal in New Hampshire. It's like ballot harvesting. It's like, wow, they ballot harvested and beat us. It's legal in a lot of states. In California, Republicans learned how to ballot harvest because it's legal. And guess what they did? They won seats. Republicans flipped seats last election because instead of complaining about the rules, they played by the rules. I'm starting to think that Republicans are purposely doing it's like this constant scramble where they're like cheating. So everybody gets like rabid and they just buy a bunch of merch and give them like billions of dollars. But then when push comes to shove, if you really want to stop the cheating in November, you have to be pinpoint accurate about how they're cheating. Do you get what I'm saying? If a robber broke in your window and you said 15 robbers broke in 15 different windows, and then you can't solve the mystery. You have to be like, no, that's the broken window. The robber came through the window. My alarm system didn't go off, right? Or we weren't home, or like something like, you can't just be like, it's like, where did the robber come in? It's like everywhere, all the time. It's always happening. It's almost like these Republicans are purposely trying to screw you over. And then when it comes to strategy, it's like, okay, there was an open primary. A bunch of people voted for Nikki Haley that aren't Republicans. But in general, it doesn't matter because Trump won. The next time that this primary matters is 2028. It doesn't really even matter then. And for the general election, that guy's going to vote. The Republicans are going to vote. The Democrats are going to vote. The independents are going to vote. And anybody who's registered to any party or no party can vote in the general. And that's what Trump needs to win. So why would every Republican influencer in unison be, one, lying to you and telling you that they cheated when they didn't, and two, not focusing on the main prize and acting like this means anything for the general election? It doesn't. It doesn't matter who voted in the Republican primary right now. Everyone can vote in New Hampshire. Are people following? I hope so. I mean, I know I have a smart crowd. Not everybody, I would say like 1%, 2% of people here, dumb as rocks, but everybody else, 98%, you know who you are, smart people, but okay. I want to play this clip real quick because it can be interpreted multiple ways, right? I saw CNN share this clip. I saw Benny Johnson share this clip. You know something suspicious when CNN and Benny Johnson share it. No, but jokes aside, listen to this clip and tell me. I'm going to read your comments, okay? Tell me, because I interpreted it one way. Some people interpreted it a different way. Tell me how you interpret this clip. Do you think, when I play the clip, listen to it, please. Do you think that Trump is saying that he won all three primaries, like over the years? He won New Hampshire in the primary and he won New Hampshire in the general? Or do you think he's saying I won New Hampshire in the primary and I just won 3 general elections? let me know what you think he's saying, because I'll tell you what I think, and then I want to read your comments first, like without putting my input on it. Like, what is Trump saying are you assuming that he's saying he won New Hampshire 3 times in the general election and the primary?
Well, I want to thank everybody. This is a fantastic state. This is a great, great state. You know, we won New Hampshire 3 times now. Three. We win it every time. We win the primary. We win the generals. We've won it, and it's a very, very special place to me. It's very important. If you remember, in 2016, we came here and we needed that win, and we won by 21 points, and it was great.
How do you interpret what he just said? I'll play it again real quick, and then I'll read some of the comments. Like, do you think he's saying he just won 3 primaries in New Hampshire, or are you taking it as he says, I won the primary and the general election 3 times in New Hampshire?
Well, I want to thank everybody. This is a fantastic state. This is a great, great state. You know, we won New Hampshire 3 times now. Three. We win it every time. We win the primary. We win the generals. We've won it, and it's a very, very special place to me. It's very important. If you remember, in 2016, we came here and we needed that win, and we won by 21 points, and it was great.
How do you interpret that? He said we won the primary in New Hampshire 3 times, and then we won the generals. I'm just trying to. Nobody's commenting for some reason. I'm trying to read before I say what I think. I want to like get your take. You know, I don't want to influence it. Someone said he won 3 times overall, 2016, 2020, 2024. Anomaly trying to get woke leftists following him on YouTube. No. Can people answer the question or no? Should I not ask questions? No one. Someone said I took it to mean he won all 3 primaries. Kyle said I take it that he said he won 3 primaries and a general. Anno Domini said he won everything. 3 wins. I think he said he won the primaries and the generals 3 times. He won both. I took it. I mean, I saw the clip, right? I saw Benny Johnson post it. I saw CNN post it, trying to have like a moment. I mean, maybe I misheard it, or maybe he misspoke. I don't know. I took it as I won the primary here 3 times, and I won the general here 3 times. I looked it up. He lost the general election in New Hampshire in 2016, and he lost the general election in New Hampshire in 2020. And there has been no general election of 2024, so it's not possible that he won 3. I mean, it's not the biggest deal. I'm just curious of like how people interpreted it, because someone said I think he means all primaries. It's possible. Yeah, I'm not like, it's not that huge of a deal. I'm just curious because I heard it and I was like, how you didn't win the general there? But he's just like, I won 3 primaries, I won 3 generals, and it's like, it's not even possible to win. If he's talking about just the general election, it's not even possible. Like, it hasn't even happened yet. But it's whatever. I guess the point that I'm trying to make before I play another clip, if you're trying to stop cheating, you can't just say everything's cheating. But there's a market to throw meat to the Republican base, to just like spiral them over every topic. And it's like every day I wake up and log into social media, everybody's spiraling over something that they're lying about. So at this point, it's just like, are they trying to do this strategically, or are they? I kind of just take it as like they don't really care. They just know that that's like a way to get you to click and share stuff. Because it's like you don't have to like that independents voted in a Republican primary, but it's not against the law at all. So why would you say it's cheating? And if you keep saying everything's cheating, how in the world are we ever going to stop the actual cheating? Like, that's how I think, but no one thinks that way. So I'm starting to realize that there's a massive disconnect between how I see things and how most people see things. And I'm totally okay with that. It's just like, it's just weird to me. I'll read a few more comments, and then I have one more clip to play, and then I'll just answer other things. Someone said dumb grifters. Someone said I didn't really hear anyone say cheating. That's all I saw. But I mean, you know, I'm only on one social media last night. It's not like everyone. Someone said Tim went ballistic on Luke. I don't know. Someone said Trump is winning everything. Trump is awesome. In New Hampshire, he's pretty strong out here, but politics are quiet. I mean, he's right that he won the primary all 3 times in New Hampshire, but he lost the general against Hillary Clinton in New Hampshire in 2016 and he lost to Biden in 2020 by like a point. So him saying he wins it all the time, it's like, not really, but I don't know. Maybe he misspoke or maybe I misheard it. Someone said, do I care if he's talking about cheating? Well, there's the old classic tale that every kid learns when you're growing up, the boy who cried wolf, right? It's an important story. I believe that that's probably why it's lasted for hundreds or thousands of years. And I'm thinking about this just like people were thinking about it probably in like the 1500s. The boy who cried wolf is the boy who kept saying the wolf was coming, the wolf was coming, the wolf, did this or whatever. And then the wolf actually did it. And then no one believed him because he was always lying all the time. And the moral of the story is you have to not lie or else no one's going to believe you when that time comes, right? I don't think I did a great job explaining the story, but most people understand it. With cheating, I don't think that cheating doesn't occur. I know that they're rigging social media. I know which corporations want which parties to win. I know how they're doing it. I've studied social media since 2007. I wouldn't consider myself an expert in many things. I do think I'm an expert in social media and at a lot of internet stuff. I'm not good at like the hardware side, but as far as like the trends, culture, algorithms, etc., I understand that. I know how they're cheating. I know that they are cheating. I'm not saying they're not cheating, but when I listen to Mike Lindell or Kerry Lake or Trump, I don't think, oh, these people know what they're talking about. They just sound like ranting, raging boomers that will say like literally everything. They're like, oh, the companies in Cuba. And it's like, what the hell are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? And then they get sued and then they can't even win a court case because they're talking out of their ass. I don't think they should have got sued. And I'm not asking for lawsuits. I mean, I think that was crazy, but like these people don't know what they're talking about. So when I hear a New Hampshire primary, right? I'm just thinking strategically. Trump won the primary. There's no primary in New Hampshire until like the next presidential election. And for the general election, this literally means nothing, right? It doesn't mean anything. That everyone can vote in New Hampshire for the general election. So why are you complaining about something that literally doesn't matter? But that's what I've learned over the last couple of years is like people, what are you trying to do, right? Like there's certain things that everyone's trying to do. Someone said terrible take on Dominion, dumb. Then go follow them and you could talk about Cuba and all this stuff. And then that you can go to court and try to prove it to a judge. I'm just saying, if you say they cheated in 50 ways and you're right about 35, it doesn't matter anymore. What has happened from 10,000 Mules? Nothing. What have they changed? Nothing. There's a few people in office that actually cleaned up voter rolls and made their elections fair. One of them is Ron DeSantis, and Mike Lindell baselessly accused him of cheating because Mike Lindell likes Donald Trump. You think Mike Lindell believes what he says? Mike Lindell might believe what he says, but if Ron DeSantis never ran against Donald Trump, he never would have said that Ron DeSantis cheated. Mike Lindell doesn't think that Ron DeSantis cheated. Mike Lindell's head is so far up Trump's ass, he will say literally anything against anyone who challenges Trump. So why would you listen to that person? But there's a market for fooling people. I'm not saying Mike Lindell's wrong about everything, but I try to be like, if I'm going to talk about cheating, I want to be 10 of 10 accurate or 5 of 5 accurate or 1 of 1 accurate or 2 of 2 accurate. I'm not trying to go 50, like 35 for 50, because then there's 15 times you messed up and now no one can get anything done. But there's a market for that. But the thing is, everyone's doing something. He has a company. He's selling pillows, right? But he's also trying to help Trump and losing a lot of money doing so. Okay. But I'm trying to actually like win and fix problems. And I'm realizing that most people are not doing that, but you don't want to do that. So there's a market for not doing that. It's like this weird cycle where you can't blame the elites and the politicians because it's what people want. In my opinion, I haven't used, and this is not medical advice because I'm not trying to do that, but like I don't use normal soap, right? I don't know the last time I've bought normal soap. I don't believe in normal soap. I think the ingredients are insane. I think the ingredients in most drinks are insane. I think soda is insane. I don't drink soda. I'll drink soda like once in a while when I'm out, but like I wouldn't buy soda for my house. It's got high fructose corn syrup. Like I think people are slowly being poisoned by the ingredients. And all you have to do is look at a picture of a beach from 1970 when not a single person was fat. And now everybody, this year, like record number of cancers on the rise. I wonder why. But nobody in this country cares. You think I'm crazy? I think you're crazy. This country's fat, dying of cancer, dying of suicide, dying of opioids. All the kids are overdosing on fentanyl, and their boomered out parents are slobbering on over CNN or Fox News saying that I'm crazy. It's like, I don't use the ingredients you're using. I think you're insane. It's obvious what's being done to our people in this country, and literally no one cares. Like, they're so wrapped up in politics and like plots around politicians that they don't even care about their own food they're drinking, their own water they're drinking, and the quality of ingredients in their stuff. And it's not the same as it was 40 years ago. And that's the reason everybody's fat and dying. But if you can't even get a population to care about that, what can you get people to do? So it's like, I'm not normal in this weird world, but I don't want to be normal because normal is not right. So people are like, could it be possible that 90% of conservative influencers don't really care? Of course, because people buy the products. That's why they sell the products. In politics, it's the same thing. If I come out and say, hey, Mike Lindell is right about 15 out of 20 things that he said, and we need to stick to the 15 that are right, because if we stick to the 20 and 5 of them are wrong, we're going to look stupid and we're not going to get everything done. You know what people do to me when I come out on stage? Not literally, I always get applauses, but I'm just saying, like, if this were like a metaphorical stage, they'd throw tomatoes at me and be like, shut up, get out of the way, and there's a market for people who take it further. Like during the election, I do think that they pushed it in favor of Democrats, and I can prove like systemically exactly how they did it. But the number one theory from November to January was that Trump did watermark ballots because, Alex Jones had some sneak on his show who said that and misled people, and probably was sent there to mislead people. And that became the big scoop, because if you're running circles around that, you're never going to actually fix the problems. But people want that. You understand? It's like they don't want the truth. They want somebody who runs them in circles. So I think a lot of these Republicans are businessmen. They're like, all right, let's just run people in circles. Like, we know that they didn't cheat in this New Hampshire primary, but let's just say they cheated. So people throw money at us and retweet it 10,000 times. Like, we should be doing this, but we're not. And we knew that it was going to happen, but now we're going to act bamboozled, and now we're going to complain about it. And then it's like, for the general, this literally doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who registered what to vote. Everyone can vote in the general. That's literally all that matters. Trump needs to win the general election. Nothing that they're talking about here matters for the general, but they don't care. I'm convinced. Like, I'm very good at like pattern recognition and like data analytics. So it's like, either these people are really, really dumb, or they've just figured out, because I don't think that they're dumb. So I'm like, I think that they've just figured out, win or lose, like, we're going to make a fortune as long as we stick to this narrative. So it's like, if they win this way, they're already cashing out on it. And if they lose, they can just say it was stolen and everybody cheated. And then they could run you in circles and make a fortune off it. Trump raised $250 million off of the stolen election, and not a single one of his supporters, or I'm not going to say that, some people probably know, but most of his supporters have no idea where the money was even spent. I was talking to my buddy yesterday. I was on Akira the Don's podcast, and he told me this, and I didn't even know, but he said, like, Akira the Don was like a DJ in Los Angeles, and he's done like meaning wave music. I love Akira. He's a great DJ. I used to go to the club that he worked at because one, he's like my favorite DJ when he's playing music. It's awesome. But also we have mutual friends, and like people would let me in and give me drinks, etc., like free drinks. And then he said, somebody, I don't even know who he was talking about. I don't remember that person because I'm not familiar with them. But like, apparently they were really big into QAnon, and they went to the Capitol believing QAnon. And apparently it's a father who's now in prison. Like they got brainwashed by QAnon. Nobody could tell them otherwise. And they're like, oh, you don't understand. Donald Trump's going to do this. And now you have a father with kids that's rotting in prison because they believed a message board psyop. You know what I'm saying? Over like idol worship, blasphemy, Marvel movie, Donald Trump plots, thinking they were going to go to January 6th and they thought the deep state was going to get arrested. But it was a setup that they got lured to, that they got arrested. Like, this is how real it is for certain people. And I don't even know who he's talking about because he was a DJ there for years. So he knew more people at that bar than me. But I was like, that's crazy. I'm not surprised, but like, it sucks, and like, there's like a market for that. It's like, whether we win or lose, it's like, we're going to keep this story going. I'm just trying to figure out why people keep buying it. I don't understand. I guess I do, but it's like with the food in this country and the water in this country and the ingredients in this country, like no one cares. People will get more mad at like a drama story that comes out. It'll be like Taylor Swift stands on the thing, and you're like, what? And then it's like Donald Trump got the thing. What? Nikki Haley did this. What? And it's like they'll put out this news story that like, they're like sunscreens are being recalled for cancer, and everyone's like, I don't care. It's like, I'm not giving medical advice. I don't use generic sunscreen. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying to burn in the sun. That's not good medical advice. And I'm not giving medical advice. I'm just saying personally, I don't use sunscreen. And everybody's like, you need to use it. It's like, did you miss the news story where a bunch of them got recalled for cancer? Do you notice that everyone's getting cancer? Are you guys missing something? Like, what aren't you seeing? Are you not watching the pharmaceutical ads when you're watching NFL? What's a side effect of the pill that they're telling you to take? This country is insane. Everybody's stupid. But I like Trump. I don't give a fuck. But I don't like Trump. I don't give a fuck either. Like, do you not realize what's going on? This country's slowly getting killed. And nobody cares. So it's like, I don't give a shit who I offend. Oh, I like Trump. And I don't like what you're saying. Good. Keep slurping down your high fructose corn syrup and ignoring the news stories that the stuff you're lathering on your skin has cancer-causing chemicals in it and it had to be recalled. Like, that's what I'm paying attention to. Oh, you're so dumb. And I'm like, no, I'm not dumb. And that's the problem. Is like this country's, it's like, doesn't matter who wins the election. If you can't even pay attention to a news story, you care more about Taylor Swift farting in a freaking, Arrowhead Stadium, or like Donald Trump's little Marvel plot so the bankers can run you in circles over cancer-causing chemicals and things that millions of people are lathering on their skin. It's insane. This country's insane. So it's like when you realize that like 95% of people don't even care about that, then you realize what's really going on here, where it's like, okay, that's what's going on in politics. It's just like people have figured out, all right, well, these dummies are not going to wake up. A lot of them think you're animals. They're like, these animals are not going to wake up. So they're just like feeding you slop, sloppy MAGA slop or anti-Trump slop, like the lowest level form of like slabber, because they know that that's popular. And then like trying to wake people up is offensive. Someone said, calm down. I probably should, but like, I'm sorry. I'm offended. You're offended by words. I'm offended that millions of people are dying every year in this country due to like easily preventable stuff, and no one cares. And Trump doesn't talk about it, and DeSantis doesn't really talk about it, and no one talks about it, and they just keep running you in circles. Well, Nikki Haley, it's like it's insanity. So anyway, I want to play this clip real quick because I've come to the conclusion that politics, I'm going to like read it because I put a list of like things that I thought it was, and I'm not going to like as eloquently say it. But, I think that politics for most people is a combination of theater that they're obsessed with, endless Marvel plots that they're obsessed with, cosplay, which means you get to dress up and play along like a schoolgirl or like I'm Pikachu, Pika, look, I'm at Comic-Con. Like that's people. They're like, I'm part of the revolution. I'm a patriot. Sure you are. It's a religion, it's idol worship, and it's fandom. So when I say something that is literally obviously true, or my opinion that's probably true, people freak out. It's like telling a bunch of like little girls that Taylor Swift is not the best artist of all time. It's like, hey, little girls, Taylor Swift's not as good as Dolly Parton was. And they're like, oh my gosh, screw you. Like, that's like telling like a grown man that slurps down high fructose corn syrup and lathers, disease-causing chemicals on their skin that Vivek is not really who they think he is. So they're like, screw you, you're a dude. It's like they get so mad. It's disgusting. But I'm just going to play this clip because I'm watching it go viral on Twitter. And I'm laughing to myself because it's like, I'm not trying to come across as a hater because I'm not a hater. But like objectively, I think people are stupid if you watch this clip and think, oh, Vivek is totally not a politician. He's a hedge fund guy who, before he was in hedge fund, took a Paul and Daisy Soros scholarship and then said he needed the money and he was a broke college student when he literally lied about that, but nobody's even smart enough to realize that he lied about that. And it's not about being rich or poor. It's just, why would you lie about that? It was like, if I said I grew up in a shack and I grew up in a literal like mansion, it's like, what, wouldn't you not trust me for lying about such a small detail? But anyway, it's like a hedge fund guy turned pharmaceutical CEO who brought the largest IPO in modern biotech history that ended up crashing into the ground after he sold this already failed Alzheimer's drug on shows like CNBC, wanted to be famous. Nobody cared about him. And he said he cried on January 6th. He talks like a politician and he has all the hand movements that like he seems so robotic and fake. If this guy tried to sell me a car, I'd walk out of the car dealership. If this guy tried to sell me a house, I'd walk out. Like, he's so fake and robotic. Is he smart? Yes. Is he well-spoken? Absolutely. Does he say all the right things? For sure. Have you never been to a car dealership? They could convince you into buying something you don't need, buying liability you don't need. You're doing the $500 a year oil change that would cost you $50. You leave there and they fleeced your pockets and you're like, how the hell did they do that? Because they're professional salesmen. That's what they do. They've mastered the art of being charming and smiling. Hey, look at my teeth. I'm really this happy. He's that like, if you watch this and think, oh, I really trust this guy, I think you're an idiot. But apparently that makes me unpopular and a hater because everybody thinks that, like, this is like Obama to the 9th degree. Like, this is so obviously a fake, cringy politician sales pitch. Like, I'm watching this and everyone's believing it. And it's like, I guess I got to find a new profession because it's not like I've been here since 2016 and a lot of people have disappeared. Like, I'm still in business. It's not like my business is hurting or I can't do this. I just don't want to. It's like, if this is what the business is, 99% of like drooling loser men slobbering over this guy, and I point out that I think he's a phony and they get mad at me, it's like, I'll just pursue one of my other skills and try to make it my career. Cause like, I can't fight with a bunch of loser men who believe this. Like, watch it. You believe this? I don't.
USA and Donald Trump, America first. Now, I got 30 seconds left. I want to make this point here, okay? We got to say this.
Donald Trump. Do you think people who talks like that, guys? Car salesman, news hosts on television. No, we got to say Donald Trump. No one talks like that, bro. He's a total phony. I'm going to play the clip.
USA and Donald Trump, America first. Now, I got 30 seconds left. I want to make this point here, okay? We got to say this. We got to say this right. What we see right now with her continuing in this race is the ugly underbelly of American politics, where the mega donors are trying to do one thing when we, the people, say another. And it's up to us, we, the people, to at long last say, hell no. We, the people, create a government that is accountable to us. And we, the people, have said tonight, we want, again, as we did in Iowa, Donald J. Trump. And so you want to actually speak truth. That's the truth tonight.
You want to speak truth? That's the truth. Look at my hat. It says truth on it, guys. Truth. You want the truth? This is the truth. I speak the truth. My brand is truth. Look at my truth hat and my truth shirt. This is truth, right, Patriots? There's nothing robotic about this. It's like, oh, the mega donors. Oh yeah, we're going to show those mega donors what time it is. Who's the biggest mega donor in recent GOP history that recently passed away? Now I think his wife has taken over the state. Sheldon Adelson, the biggest. He's by far the biggest, donor in the last 10 years. Who did Sheldon Adelson dump $100 million plus into? Trump's GOP and Trump. It's like he also takes donor money, but Vivek is not going to say that because he's just like a politician. I'm just saying. It's like, I watched that clip and it's like it's like he's been doing that. It's like, go watch his interview when he was on Mad Money with Jim Cramer. They're like, Jim Cramer's like, so why should I trust a pharmaceutical, or why should I trust a hedge fund guy in pharmaceutical? Because it's like, who would trust a hedge fund guy who now majestically is in pharmaceuticals? It's like ridiculous. And like, even Jim Cramer was like, I don't believe you. And like, Vivek's like, whoa, my Alzheimer's drug. It's like, he's such a like polished salesman. I would walk out of the car dealership if this guy tried to sell me a car. Like, I knew he was good at his job, but I'd be like, I don't trust this guy. But when I say that, people get mad at me. So it's like, I'm not trying to like ruin people's parade. I've realized that I see politics as the future of our country, culture, society, the laws being passed, reality. And if I'm going to be involved in it, I don't want to just like make a fortune like lying to people. That's disgusting. I want to actually have a positive impact. And I think I have, but it's like, I'm starting to realize though that most people that pay attention to this stuff, they're like professional fans. Like my feed is like a bunch of grown men drooling over other grown men like crazier than like a 15-year-old would drool over like Beyonce. Like it's like they're like, oh my gosh, yes, queen, yes, slay, Vivek, slay. Oh my gosh, oh my god. It's like, bro, aren't you 40? Aren't you a 40-year-old man? Slay, slay. Oh my gosh, he's beating up the deep state with Donald Trump. Oh my gosh, he said truth. It's like, it's so embarrassing. I'm like, and then I say something and they're like, oh, you just do it. It's like, I feel like I'm going to like a Taylor Swift concert with like a Red Hot Chili Peppers shirt on and being like, you know, like Taylor Swift is cool, but like the Red Hot Chili Peppers are better. And they're like, oh my gosh, oh god. It's like, oh my gosh, did you see Vivek say that about central bank digital currencies? Oh my gosh. And it's like DeSantis passed a bill banning central bank digital currencies from Florida last year. For 5 months, no one cared or said anything. And then Trump and Vivek started saying it after DeSantis literally did it. And nobody gives DeSantis credit, even though he's the first governor to pass it. And now they're like, oh my gosh, he said it on a stage. Oh my gosh. It's like, it's so embarrassing. Like, and I'm not even mad. I'm literally laughing at it. I'm sitting at my computer and I'm like, what the hell? Like I posted when Charlie was complaining about the New Hampshire thing, I was just trying to like strategically figure it out. And I'm like, we got to win this state, or we got to try to win this state in November. How is lying and complaining over a primary that's over that Trump already won going to matter for the general election when everyone can vote? Like, I'm actually doing like campaign strategy. Like, how is this a good idea? And then like everyone in the comments like, oh, what did you register as a goof? Oh, you're a piece of garbage. Oh, you have derangement syndrome. And I'm like, I'm not even like, I'm talking about basic strategy to try to help the party. And literally people just mock me and hate on me. And it's like, I don't care, but it's like, why do I even want to help these people? It's like, they're such an embarrassing like fail. You know, I'm trying so hard to help them and they just like yell at me and mock me. And I'm looking at them and I'm like, they want like a story. You know what I'm saying? It's like Iron Man. Like instead of Iron Man actually doing something, it's like a hedge fund, pharmaceutical, like, you know, politician scammer that's like talking like Obama and just like, you know, generically saying stuff just like they did when they were in the pharmaceutical industry, you know, hawking a failed Alzheimer's drug on Jim Cramer's show. Like it's the same shtick, just rebranded. And it's so obvious to anybody with like half an ounce of discernment. And then they get mad at me like girls. Like I'd rather like women get mad at me over like Beyonce, because it's like, I get it. You like Beyonce. She's a good singer. She's a good dancer. You know, she did a Single Ladies. Oh, I'm a single lady. I understand. Like, I get it. You like her, and I shouldn't have gone to your worlds and said that about Beyonce. Now I'm going to regret it because you guys are crazy. The Bayhive, they call them. That's like Vivek and Trump for like these loser Republican guys. Like, that's their Beyonce is a hedge fund manager and a pharmaceutical billionaire who cried on January 6th, who's now screaming 1776 and talking like a politician used car salesman. And they're like, oh my gosh, slay. And I'm like, I don't believe this. And they're like, oh, jealous much? Oh, you're so like, no. Like, I could pretend to be a Republican and go to the Iowa Fair and just do rap karaoke. Like, that's not hard for me. I played festivals with 10,000 people. I just did a sold out show with 5, doing my own original music, like not, you know, doing karaoke. I do like karaoke though, but it's like, I could do that. Like I just don't want to do that, but I understand why people do. It's not like, oh, that's what I want to do. It's just, that's my opinion. It's like if someone comes to me and says, oh, that's a slick car. I mean, you know, put the used mileage down on it, 500,000. You know, I'm going to give you an oil change, buy one, get one free. You know, just sign on this dotted line. And like, I look down and it's like $500. You know, that actually happened to me today. I thought I needed an oil change. I didn't. But anyway, I went to the dealership, right? I was going to get an oil change because I had get an oil change light come on, but my oil's fine. It was just like timed by the day, not by the amount of oil level I had. But I went to the car dealership and dude, these guys are like, they're slick. You know what I'm saying? Like the best car salesmen are like Vivek. Vivek literally sounds like a car salesman to me, like exactly like one. Like they're, you know, I'm not I'm not gonna say they're like handsome because I'm not gay, but like they're, you know, they come across as like slick. They got their slick back hair. They got the same hair. They all have the same haircut as Vivek, but it's like, you know, they're like, hey, they're like smiling at you, trying to look like they're all like cool, and it's like, yo, stop, bro, this is weird. And they're like, hey, come on, bro, like, you know, and they're like, wait, what do you want? You want to trade this bad boy in? And I was like, I went in to get an oil change, and like this guy comes up to me with like the same Vivek haircut, and he's like, oh, so he's like, you can he's like, you don't even need an oil change. You can drive a new one right off the lot. And it's like, bro, get the fuck away from my car. You know what I'm saying? Excuse my it's like, no, dude, I don't. I just said I'm buying my car in full afterwards. I'm not trying to trade it in, but they want it because it's valuable. So they come and they're like, I could drive you a bad boy right off this lot right now. And it's like, you know, I'm like trying to get an oil change. Next thing I know, they're putting something in front of me. I almost sign it, and it says like $275. And I'm like, I'm not paying $275. I thought it was free. And also, that's why I came here. Also, I don't even know if I need one. Can we check the oil levels? And they said they couldn't, but I figured out how to do it with a YouTube tutorial. So it's like, dude, these guys love to spin you around. You're signing stuff, thinking next thing you know, they just like got $30,000 out of you. It's like they're master manipulators, and they're great at just knowing how to push you in the direction. It's like, that's exactly, yeah, they look like Matt Gaetz, who's also comes from a family of politicians. But in general, they have that same like Jimmy Neutron haircut. You know, they all like slick their hair up, and like Vivek looks like Jimmy Neutron too. You know, look at his haircut and then look at Jimmy Neutron. It's like the same. If you're a car salesman, you have to have a Jimmy Neutron haircut. I think they figured out. It's like being a bartender and like, you know, doing a push-up bra. They're like, oh, if I push my titties up, I could get an extra $50 a night or something. It's like, if I slick back my hair like Jimmy Neutron, then I could, you know, I could get a few extra bucks on this car sale. It's like, whatever. But like, that's the cycle of it with politics. People love this stuff. Like they love the drama. You know, they're like women. And I don't say I like women. I'm not saying like I have nothing against women. I'm just saying I like making fun of men more than women. Call me a sexist if you want. I don't care. And it's not because I'm trying to gain favor from a woman, like a feminist guy or something. You know, I'm not like, you know what the real problem in this country is? Men. Am I right, ladies? Does anybody want to come home with me? Am I right? Men suck. Am I right? Yeah. Like pussy has. Yeah, oh my gosh, abortions. Not like that's not what I'm doing. But I am blaming men more because I feel like it's extra embarrassing. Like if you're a grown woman and you're like fantasizing over like Donald Trump, I just assume you want to bang him. You know, and I'm like, whatever. I'm not trying to be, I don't know what the word is, inappropriate, possibly. But the amount of like women who want to just have sex with Donald Trump more than their husbands is like astronomical. Like imagine if you're like a husband and you're like Trump, and your wife's like Trump. Oh my gosh. Like I'm watching like married women post pictures of Trump, like winking and like swinging baseball bats. And it's like, could you imagine if your wife was doing that? I'm not trying to be rude, but like, that's weird. You know what I'm saying? It's not like he's pushing policy. She's like, oh my God, I can't wait till he's back in the White House. He's swinging baseball bats. And it's like, just say you want to have sex with him, you know, like just be honest. Like, let's just get it out there. You know, I don't care. I'm not seeking that. I'm just saying like, but the men, it's like, why are they doing this? You know, they're like, oh my gosh, Vivek said that thing. Oh my gosh, we're going to be the deep state. Oh my gosh. And you're like, oh my gosh, they cheated in the New Hampshire. I mean, they really didn't cheat, but if I say they cheated, I'll get like 500 retweets and like everyone will like. It's like, it's so weird. I know women love drama and they love like a good Scooby-Doo mystery, but I'm just saying like, why are the men doing this? Like I'm actively pushing harder against the men because it's like embarrassing. Like you got like a 50-year-old guy with like nice abs and he's like Second Amendment, and he's like yelling at me. He's like DDS. It's like, I'm like, do the women in your life know that you want to deep throat Donald Trump? Like, I don't understand. I'm not even talking about him and like your whole life revolves around him. It's like, it's like insane. I like vote for him, like him, go to the rallies, wear the hat. But like this level of like fandom is so nuts. But what I'm realizing is like, that's what politics is for most people. I mean, look at Ron Paul for an example. He might have not been the tallest guy or the strongest guy. And I do think that his stature, just the fact that he was so little and like, you know, he looked like a little, like when he was at the debate, I love Ron Paul, by the way, but he looked like a little rascal trying to pretend like a man. You know, you ever seen Little Rascals where they like stand on each other's shoulders and they wear like a trench coat and they try to act like they're an adult? That's kind of what Ron Paul looks like. He wears a suit way too big and he looks like a little boy. So like, I think the American people, they wanted a man, but he was right about almost everything and nobody cared, like, and it's like, could everybody be wrong? Everyone's been wrong about everything. Like Ron Paul was the best congressman we've ever had. And no one cared. They were like, shut up, Ron Paul. Like, that's like Ron Paul's like, yo, we can't get involved in these foreign wars. And the Federal Reserve is literally bankrupting America. And they're like, shut up, Ron Paul. And then like 10 years later, they're like, oh no, inflation. Oh my gosh, it's Biden's fault. It's like, Ron Paul told you how this happened. You didn't want to hear it. Thomas Massey told you how this was going to happen. You didn't want to hear it. I mentioned it. Everybody yelled at me. And then when, eggs are $10 and everything's too expensive, now you care. But we always knew this was going to happen one way or another. I mean, I don't think the COVID thing was something anyone could predict. But as far as, once they printed the money, like Ron Paul, Thomas Massey, myself, any person that has a calculator and basic common sense knew, okay, inflation's coming. Like, it was over. Like the day they printed that money, it's over. The day they locked down for a day, it's over. Like, has no one ever run or understood how a business runs? Like, imagine if you run a dentist office and you have a successful dentist office and you don't have very many openings. Like a very good business, it's hard to get into, right? Like there's not a lot of openings. Now you're off for 2 months. That gap stays with you over the course of 5 years. Like, it's not like you just fill that gap. Like, you lost those 3 months. And the only way you make the money back from those 3 months is if you take money from the government through a PPP loan. And where's that money coming from? You're going to pay for whatever money they're giving that business. And then also for the next couple of years, it's like, you're never going to fill in those gaps. Like, even just as far as like, productivity wise, and like, you could slowly like whittle it away maybe if you like times to it, but like, you're not getting that back. And if the money gets there, it's through socialism. But nobody talked about it until Biden got in office. And then like everyone reacts like 5 years later. So that's what I'm realizing with everything. And I'm not complaining about this. I'm just having like an open conversation. If no one cares about anything, if they're 5 years behind and they just want to act like little girls over hedge fund managers and billionaires who are scammers, then what's the point of arguing with these men? Like, I look at grown MAGA men now, like I look at like Taylor Swift fans, except it's more pathetic because they're not 13 years old. They're 50, have a family, and, they like can't see the truth and they spiral when you talk about this stuff. So I'm like, what do you really do about it? Like, I don't want to argue with people. I don't want to like fight all the time. I like have your little moment, but like when these things, this is the annoying part, is like when these things don't work out, which they never do because they're following, like if Ron Paul says something that's objectively true and you think you're a tough guy, it'd be like, well, Ron Paul sucks and I don't like him. I like Mitt Romney. It doesn't matter how tough you think you are. He's right. You're wrong. You're going to pay for it in 5 years. Like Ron Paul, I'm not going to say he was right about everything, but I don't know that I've heard very many things that he said that weren't true. Like he's probably my favorite politician before this era. Like he was the man. People didn't want to hear it, but it doesn't matter if you want to hear it or not. It's going to happen. So it's like, what do you really do? What do you do when everybody just wants to be 10 years late on everything? They want to yell at you for being right. And they want to act like little women over like political hedge fund managers pretending to be politicians and talking like Obama. Like what, you just let them do it, I guess. But then when it doesn't work, what these people are going to do. They're going to be like, oh, Amy Coney Barrett. Benedict Arnold. She tricked us. It's like, she tricked you. You thought she was the real deal. You thought she was on your side. You thought she wasn't that person. She didn't trick you're dumb. Like it was all there. No one told you to act like a little girl over it. Like, dude, that's why I make fun of men more than women. I like women. Trust me. With that being said, I'm not giving them a pass from some feminist angle. It's just more embarrassing for a man, in my opinion. I'm a little, it's the same way, like I hold the NBA and WNBA to different standards. I don't hate women. I just expect more out of LeBron James than, Becky Johnson, who can't even make a layup, or she can make a layup or whatever, probably would beat me. But anyway, I think I could play in the NBA or WNBA rather, not like the actual NBA. But anyway, maybe not. Maybe that's false confidence. But it's like, they lie to themselves, they get mad at you, they're 4 years behind, and then they spiral off of a false narrative, and it's just, like, so embarrassing, you know? I don't understand it. I don't like it's bizarre to me. Someone said weak people just wanna be controlled. We've talked about it a lot, but that there is some sort of psychology behind it. I think everybody needs an escape, right? I need an escape, you need an escape. Like even the happiest person, there's something you do to relax, even if you're like, I have the perfect life. I just do yoga and I meditate. Well, that's your escape, right? Sleeping, that's everybody's escape. Some people watch TV, some people watch sports, some people go to the gym, some people listen to podcasts, some people are listening to me right now. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody has an escape. Um, for a lot of people, politics is the escape. Like believing in a hedge fund manager who cried on January 6th, who was a pharmaceutical CEO who made a fortune running around China, America, Jim Cramer, like somebody that after COVID-19, it's not like you should hate this person, but you should never want them to be anywhere near the top leadership of your party. And the fact that you picked the father of the vaccine and his little hedge fund pharmaceutical CEO who cried on January 6th, it just shows you how fake and stupid Republicans are. Like you could laugh at liberals all you want. You picked the father of the vaccine and his little pharmaceutical, lapdog, like who doesn't even believe what he's saying and wrote differently in a book 2 years ago and cried on January 6th. Like it's so embarrassing. But like that's people's escape. They look at Vivek like Iron Man and Trump is their Batman. It's not true. But like grown men, for some reason, want to do that. And honestly, I said this a bunch, but like I respect cosplayers more than I respect like conservative men who do this. Like I have friends, like I know this one chick, she dresses up as all like the characters and goes to like Comic-Con. Like I respect those people more. I'm like, I get it. You dress up, you look hot, you go to like Comic-Con, you're like, you're like Harley Quinn. Like I get that. That's an escape, right? And I'm not making fun of it. Like I have weird escapes too. Like I like sports more than most people. And people are like, oh, why do you like sports? I don't know. Because I need a break. You know what I'm saying? I need a break just like everyone else. And that's my break. I don't hate Comic-Con. I think it's interesting. But like grown men are role playing and cosplaying tough men that aren't actually tough. And they're role playing and cosplaying men who believe in the First Amendment when they actually don't. And they're living vicariously through hedge fund managers, billionaires, casino owners who sell vaccines. And like, that's their cosplay moment. That's their I'm Pikachu, Pika, 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 I'm Ash Ketchum. It's really pathetic. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, it's extremely pathetic. And like, when you tell them this sort of stuff, it's like, well, then what do I do then? It's like telling a kid who literally thinks they're Harley Quinn, you're not Harley Quinn. Like, hey, listen, you're going to grow up and be great. You're just not Harley Quinn. Oh, then what do I do? I don't know. Like learn to code? No, I'm just kidding. But I don't know. Like what do I do? Like when I lose a job, like what do I do? Like if I gain weight, what do I do? If I like, if I lose money or something, like what do I do? Like what do you do? I don't know. You like if you're a man, you be a man. Like what if you need to go get an oil change and you get an oil change? Like, what if you need to re-register your car? You re-register. What if like you're behind on rent? Then you get the money. Like, what does a man do in any situation? You just man the F up and figure out how to do it. But like grown men in politics are so pathetic. It's just like, what do I do? I don't know. Like not act like a little girl at a Taylor Swift concert? Oh no, oh no. It's like, oh yes, queen. It's like, what? It's so pathetic. It's insane. And this is people's escape. It's just they're meshing the real world with that world in a way that's like way more devious and deceptive than a normal cosplayer. It's literally nuts. Like go onto Twitter and follow any person. Like I know why Benny Johnson's doing it. He's making a fortune. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Vivek is a fake superhero that is getting a lot of clicks. Donald Trump has been that way for years. Who for the right wing, he's the villain that gets a lot of clicks. Like they're putting on this like theater and just making a fortune off of it, and playing into it makes more money. So it's like you're not. It doesn't make money to like wake people up out of the slumber that you put them in. You got to keep them there. So it's just crazy. And I'm like laughing at it where like I'll just say one thing. I'll be like, yeah, Like, why would you trust a hedge fund manager turned pharmaceutical CEO turned mysterious Republican who cried on January 6th and said Trump was a sore loser and now is saying 1776? Do you think that's a normal trajectory? Do you think a grown man who's over 35 would cry on January 6th if he was a Republican, a libertarian, or a conservative or a patriot? Cry on January 6th. And then a year later, write a book saying that Trump is a sore loser. A year and a half later, write a book that Trump is a sore loser like Stacey Abrams and Mike Pence was right. And then 6 months later, be yelling 1776. Like, is that a normal trajectory for any man? That's not a normal trajectory. It's not, I woke up, I was a Democrat. Like, it's like a car sales pitch. It's the same way that Joe Biden is not the same person he was. It's not a normal trajectory. It's just what politicians do. Car salesmen, they stick to the script. It's like, it's so obvious to me, but it's not obvious to other people. And I'm coming to like the Ron Paul rule. Let's call it the Ron Paul rule. Ron Paul was right about almost everything. Nobody listened to him. Republicans didn't like him. Democrats didn't like him. Neither media gave him a chance. He told the truth about this stuff, and he was one of the only ones. And everyone said, no, you're wrong, because that would mean everyone else is lying. Like, you can't be right, Ron Paul, because Mitt Romney's not saying that. John McCain's not saying that. Like Sean Hannity's not saying that. Fox News isn't saying that. So how, like, why are you saying it? What are you saying? This is how mad these men get, and women. But like, are you saying that everyone's lying to me? Yes. And then they spiral. It's the same thing as now. It's like, could all of these new Trump influencers be lying in unison to me? I'm not saying they might be lying to you. I'm saying they are lying to you for sure. I know that's hard, right? So it's like, maybe that's just how society is. Like, maybe they never want to figure it out. I don't have high hopes for these people, because it's like, if you can't even stop rubbing chemicals on your face and your body and drinking poison, like what won't you do? If you don't even if you can't even figure that out, which no one apparently in this country can. So then it gets misconstrued for like, I'm pessimistic. Like, no, I am taking care of myself. I'm not worried about it. Like, you, on the other hand, like, you're going to spiral. These people are going to spiral in 6 months and 7 months. They're going to spiral. They're going to spiral. Whether Trump wins the election or Trump loses, they're going to be spiraling for 4 years. They're going to be freaking out. They're going to be screaming. They're going to be angry. They're going to be upset. And like, they're not even going to be right about it. And the people that they think are fixing it are literally in on it. So it's like, free yourself from the loop. Someone said Vivek Ramaswamy was funded by Paul Soros. Well, here's the thing. He was given a scholarship by Paul and Daisy Soros, right? These are just data points. To me, this is the most obvious, like, this guy can slither out of any situation. I could read the report real quick. I did it when I was live, but because it's like, let me see. It's not the fact that he was rich or poor when he took the Soros scholarship. It's the fact that he lied about how much money he had. Like, it'd be like, yo, I was so broke, I needed it. Here's the part you're not getting, Miss Hayes. Listen to this, and I promise you, I could protect you from getting fooled in the future, okay? Him taking a Paul and Daisy Soros scholarship, in my opinion, is not the biggest deal in the world. It's something. But I'm not saying this is the biggest deal. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt and saying, let's just say it's not a big deal. He didn't know who they were. He just took the money. He wanted the money. I don't care. If he had $1 billion in the bank account, don't care. If he had $0 in the bank account, don't care. If he had $10 million or $1, I don't care. The problem is he makes up a fake story. He says, I needed the money. I was broke. I was a broke college kid. Wouldn't you take the money as a broke college kid? He has to give his finances in order to run for president. And it came out that he made millions of dollars the year of, and millions of dollars the years prior. Like, millions for years. Millions. And he's like, I was broke. I had no money. That's a lie. So if you're willing to lie about a small detail, he could have easily just said, it's free money. I'm taking free money. Capitalism. But he didn't say that. He said multiple times he was broke. He needed the money. And then when he gets called out, he slithers out of it and like does like word magic, and people are like, oh, that like, so it's like, if you can't figure out that simple thing, you're a fool. You know, like you're going to get tricked. And I'm not shocked. The whole country's getting tricked. They're drinking poison. They're eating poison. All their kids are dying of opioids and fentanyl. There's probably multiple people here who have family members who died from the pharmaceutical industry. Trump's a pharmaceutical scammer. Vivek made his money in big pharma. You guys don't give a shit. You're rubbing chemicals on your body as they're being recalled. Everybody's got this disease that nobody had 20 years ago, and you can't figure out why it's happening because you just believe Vivek. I don't give a fuck what you think. You're not smart enough to figure anything out. So figure it out. If you don't, I don't care. You know, you can't even figure out what you're eating, drinking, and rubbing on your skin as everybody's dying in this country. Like, wake the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Wake the fuck up. I don't care. It's like people are so dumb. It's literally insane. You watch a television show, right? And you're watching this freaking drug that you don't need. And all of the side effects are mysterious illnesses that didn't exist 15 years ago. Like, are you too fucking stupid to realize where they might be coming from? It's in the fucking commercial. Hey, side effects are this, and these 5 diseases that didn't exist 20 years ago. Could the medicine be causing that? Like, if Americans are not smart enough to figure this out, no one cares how much you want to suck off politicians. No one cares that you think that hedge fund managers are Batman. No one, you get what I'm saying? Like, I don't care. I'm not here to coddle your stupid feelings. I really don't. I don't care if there's 652 people watching this, 6,552, 650,000, or 6. I don't care. This is for people who get it and people who don't want to freaking die. You know what I'm saying? At a young age from a disease that's preventable. That's what this stream is for. Not for goofy people that are lathering poison all over their skin, being like, but I like Trump though, and I'm mad. I'm sure you are, but I don't understand what you're talking about. I bet you don't. But it's not a big deal. He's like, if you can't figure out why that lie matters, then you're done. You know what I'm saying? You're like, your mind's in the garbage. Thank you, David. I appreciate it. It's frustrating. I mean, it is when you're like, listen, millions of people are dying every year from preventable things, and no one cares. No one. Like, that just came out that there's like new cases of like young cancer that there's never been before in like millions of people. Name one person that's going to give a shit. You know what I'm saying? And all the people on the right that give a crap, they're going to blame the pharmaceutical product that Trump, I'm not saying it is, but they're going to blame the pharmaceutical product that Trump says he's the father of. And when they're in front of the father of the product that they're saying is causing these problems, they're going to smile with a cheap, shit-eating car salesman grin on their face and say nothing because they fucking hate you. You understand? They don't care about you. Like, it's so obvious. So it's like, what do you do? You know, what do you do when this is what people want to do? Laugh at it, talk about it. You know, in my perfect world, I don't like to get too ahead of the future because I am grateful for what I'm doing now. But in my perfect world, I'm out of politics. Like, I don't want to talk about it in 3 years. I don't want to be a part of it in 3 years. I don't want to hang out with these people. I don't want to speak at their conferences. I don't want to be anywhere near these people. I despise Republicans as much as I despise Democrats. All of your heroes in the right wing that you think are leading you to the promised land, I despise them in some ways more than Democrats because they're even more deceptive and deceitful. And I believe they know what they're doing and they simply don't care about you. And you don't care enough to figure it out. So it's not really their fault. It's also your fault. So it's like that's where I'm at. It's like, I'll do what I have to do. I'll do what I want to do. I'm interested. I'm engaged. I'm inspired right now. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not stopping. I'm not quitting, but I don't want to do this in 3 years because I see what's going on. It's like, if you're Ron Paul, people don't want to listen to you. You can't shift. You could shift the consciousness, but you can't like make people do what you want to do. It's like people would rather you be a Vivek than a Ron Paul. And then like, you know, it's just like, we'll see how it pans out, but just simply stating things that don't make sense, people don't want to hear it. It's like this weird, like, I don't know. It's like a weird, like theater that I'm just not interested in anymore. Like, I think it's fake and people don't want to hear it's fake. So who would I vote for then? You're not getting it. Like, it's not like you think a vote's going to save you. What don't you understand about you? If you voted for Donald Trump in 2016, you voted for Donald Trump, right? He won the election. You still ended up in a lockdown with an $18 billion socialist pharmaceutical scheme, and Trump printed more money than Barack Obama. You can vote, and I hope you do, and I hope you vote ethically, but it doesn't matter. It's not going to save you. You acting like a vote is going to save your life is as pathetic as like a grown man wearing a dress saying he's a Swiftie. Like, that's what you look like to me. Grow up. No one's going to save you. You could vote. I'm not asking people not to vote. But it's like, what part of that don't you get? It's so obvious. But this is what I'm trying to say is like, I don't want to argue with people for 5 years. I don't want to like yell at people. I don't want to like, I just rather say what I say to people who understand, or just like figure out something else to do that's productive. Like, I know there's people making AI and doing stuff like, they're just totally ignoring politics. Like, I know Gab just made Gab AI. Like, Gab is getting railed against by the media, the left wing, the right wing. Texas tried to ban Gab. And that guy's been working on AI for 5 years, and he just like launched an AI program similar to like the Twitter one. It's like some people are doing stuff like that where they're just ignoring all these people, and they're like, whatever, I'll just work on something else like outside of politics. Sean said the same influencers that have the same agents and talent management. That's why you see everyone's guests on the same podcast. I mean, there's definitely a lot of that going on, I think. A lot of like good management. I saw the thing. James said, bro, stop with the feelings. It's not feelings, though. It's like someone said, we are not enslaved people. To your audience, you seem like you're just live streaming to whine at people who already have the same views mostly as you. Bro, you're having a breakdown. It seems like you're ranting a little bit to yourself. I mean, you're watching. I don't know. I talk to my friends and stuff, and it's like, what conversations do you have on podcasts? Like, what do you want me to do? You want me to just sit here and lie like everybody else? I'm saying what I think. That's the whole point of podcasting and live streaming. And to be honest, James, it's like, you're here listening. You don't have to be here. If you really didn't like it, you wouldn't be here. The fact that you're even here, like, it is bizarre. But in general, it's like, I don't know. I could cover news stories, and I do, but I don't really think that it matters as much as I thought it used to. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing now, because I'm always trying to not only have a good time, but like if I'm covering these like generic news stories and it's like headline, and I'm getting a lot of views and like running people in circles, that I'm not saying that's what I used to do, but I used to do a different style of content. And honestly, I think it helped. And like there were times where I was really inspired to do that, like during COVID, and put together news reports and cover certain stories. But like for 2017 to 2019, I was running circles around like the Trump to the left versus Trump. And now I realize that although I'm not necessarily saying I was wrong about what I was saying, where is it going? You know what I'm saying? Like, where did that lead? Right. So now that that's what I'm kind of thinking of. It's like, what could I talk about? Right. I could do anything at this point and talk about anything. I just don't feel inspired to talk about like normal news stories, because it feels like that's the cycle of like, say the outrage over like the New Hampshire primary and it was like cheating even though it wasn't, and it's so bad even though it doesn't matter, and Trump won anyway. Like, that's gone in a day, right? No one's going to care what Charlie Kirk and Benny Johnson said about it in 2 days, because they're going to be on to the next state. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's just like the natural cycle of the news. It's not necessary, but like, that's where the money is, I feel like. And that's where the attention is like doing these things. So what I'm trying to do is just do the same things, but counter it with a message that makes more sense, hoping people can kind of crack out of the loop and then make better decisions. I mean, I don't know if it's working, but that's kind of like my goal of it. So it's not I mean, I did get a little upset today, but it's like the food and the water, like it's really like sad, like it's sad that our country is not putting in its effort to give the best quality stuff to people, and like no one cares because they're running around political plots. So, maybe there's a more effective way of pushing that message, but it's kind of like sad to me, that like that's happening. So, but I have made better videos about it, just not this one, I guess. Someone said the solution to your own life: learn skills, grow, build. Maybe if enough people did this and came together, could be done. I don't know what I'm going to do though. Yeah, I mean, I think, politically, I guess I don't always word what I'm trying to say properly, but politically, I've come to the conclusion, and I wouldn't say I'm having a breakdown, but I am having like a public thought process. That's kind of like what podcasts are. I'm coming to the conclusion that politics, when it comes to like conservative politics, at least, I just ignore left wing politics at this point. There's nothing there for me. Conservative politics is like one big outrage cosplay theater loop where grown men want to idolize hedge fund managers and pharmaceutical salesmen 2 years after like an Operation Warp Speed pharmaceutical lockdown. Like, if you ask me, like, what's crazier, a grown conservative man who cries about the pharmaceutical scams all day, idol worshiping a hedge fund manager turned pharmaceutical CEO and the father of the vaccine? Like, honestly, I think you guys are as crazy as like a transgender dancer. You know, like, you're like, oh, how are they pretending to do that? How are you pretending to do this? Like, how are you, like, you know, like, you guys are just as delusional as left wingers, in my opinion. So it's like that. I thought the right was countering the lies, and I thought the right wanted to live in reality, and I thought the right was like strong and righteous. But I'm learning that that's not what Republican politics is. It's a giant theater, idol worship, cosplay, in my opinion, like antichrist, like anti-Christian, like slobberfest over pharmaceutical scammers. Like, that's what it is now. And like, I'm not popular in that world. I'm popular in the world, but I'm just not popular in that world, right? And that's okay. I don't need to be popular in every world, but the reason I'm having these public conversations is like, I'm not saying I want to be the president. I don't want to be. I'm not saying I want to be the leader of the Republican Party. I don't. I can't be. It's not possible. People don't want what I want. Like, I want what they pretend to want. They want pharmaceutical scams, hedge fund managers, billionaires speaking politically and saying they're going to do stuff they're not, hiring the swamp, and complaining about things that their party's doing while they're cosplaying that they're saving the world, like, delusionally. And no one will tell the millions of MAGA moms stuck in the queue mental illness that they're, losing their minds. So it's like, if that's what that is, I'm not yelling right now. I'm not upset. I'm coming to the terms of like, that's not me. I could be delusional and be like, I'm running against Trump. I can't win. I don't want to win. I'm just saying, like, that's what that is. And I'm trying to figure out where I belong. Cause like, people will be like, go vote for Biden. No, I'm not voting for Biden. Or they'll be like, screw you, find a new job. I'll find a new job when I want to find a new job. You can't shame me out of this world. But like, I'm understanding where it's like, I could sit here and be like, oh, I'm Joe Walsh and I'm going to take over with, it's like, no, you're not, like, I'm realistic. Like, that's not my world. So then it's like, what do I do? What do I work on? I don't want to complain about this stuff all the time, but like, if I'm going to be a part of this reality, I can't lie. So it's like, that's where I'm trying to figure out. It's like, do I unfollow everybody? Do I just completely unfollow them so I don't even see what they're saying, and then I'll talk about other stuff? That might be the solution. Like, I don't want to offend all my former colleagues and stuff, but it's like, if it were up to me, I'd unfollow 95% of these people because their little like scams are just like annoying to me. It's just, it is what it is. Someone said, why die on this hill? I don't even understand what you're talking about. Like, what do you think I'm doing? What do you think you're doing? It's been 4 years now where I don't understand what most Republicans are doing. Like, I can't come to terms with it. This is like it's not a breakdown, but it's like a public conversation about my thought process. Cause it's just really what's happening. It's like, I haven't seen the same things that most Republicans have seen since 2019. In 2020, I disagreed when Trump said to extend the lockdown. I disagreed when Trump said that Sweden should lock down. I literally said in April, it's communist propaganda. I said, Trump is spewing communist propaganda. And all the little Trump shills were like, no, Sweden should lock down. Trump knows what he's doing. Since that point, I've been like, that's where people are mad at me. Like, we don't live in the same reality anymore. Like, we just don't, like, I think Sweden should stay open. Trump should say it should lock down. I think as Americans, we should speak the truth. You think we should make excuses for a guy who's pushing communism. Like, I'm not a communist, but you're not a communist. So you say, yet you're okay with Trump telling Sweden to do communism on their own people because you like the guy more than you like your own thoughts. To me, that's a cult. To me, that's called brainwash. To me, that's called borderline mental illness, but then people will spiral and say, I'm mentally ill. And it's like, if you hang around mentally ill people enough, they'll make you mentally ill. If you hang around crazy people enough, they're going to make you feel crazy. So it's like, I'm trying to get away from these people because I've realized that the Republican Party has lost its mind. Like with the January 6th stuff, it's not like I disagreed on everything that people were talking about with the election, but at certain points, it's like I just don't follow along, and that's my problem. Like I go back to what my mom told me was like, if she just ingrained this in me. I'm so grateful. If everyone jumps off a bridge, you don't jump off. Like you don't follow your friends. You know, like when I was like 12 years old, she's like, your friends are not like my friends are dumb, but she was like, you're young, you're not, fully grown. Like don't follow everything they do. And everybody just follows. Everybody's a follower. So when people go that way, I don't go that way. It's like everyone believed everything Lynn Wood was saying. Trump's selling Moderna vaccines and talking about the Capitol. Everyone believed them. I know people who like, my friends tried to talk out of like QAnon who like didn't want to hear it, got mad at their own friends, and now they're literally rotting in prison with children. Like literally, you know what I'm saying? I didn't even remember that person he was talking about, but he's like, he was telling me that at the bar that we used to go to, that we had somebody there that worked there. I didn't know which guy he was talking about, but like he's saying he's in prison now with kids and he was into Q. And like I never believed Q. So it's like if I was anywhere, I was like, I don't believe that stuff. And I would explain why. And like people would get mad at me. Now he's in prison, right? So it's like I've gone a totally different way as other people. And now it's like from that point on, it's like, where did everyone go from there? It's like, listen to Mike Lindell for 10 months and at a 48-hour cyber symposium. And it's like, everyone believes that that's the right thing to do. And the first thing is I think to myself and I say, listen, if Mike Lindell had evidence to overturn the election or do anything, first of all, I knew he was lying because I'm just good at he's like a salesman. It's like, I'm 100% sure. I'm 100% sure. Once you tell me you're 100% sure and you're not, like, I'm not going to believe you. But he does a 48-hour cyber symposium or whatever, 72 hours or whatever. You don't need 72 hours to do something. So like, to me, that's a spectacle. You know what I'm saying? Guys, a 72-hour event is insane. That means you desperately want attention. It has nothing to do with like overturning an election. 72 hours? I mean, some court cases go quicker than that. It's like, that's nuts. But anyway, it's like, okay. And then it's like you fast forward and all of these little like plots, like Vivek pops up out of nowhere. Like everybody loves this stuff. And it's been 4 years since I'm like, I don't agree about any of this. What was the mules, 2,000 mules, 10,000 mules, 100 mules, whatever that movie was. I watched a decent amount of it. I never thought it was good. I never thought it mattered. I always thought it was an exaggeration. And if you really thought it was a movie that was going to like save America and fix the election, then how are you going to charge more than like $1 billion budgeted, like, Marvel movie in the theaters for it? And I'm not saying not to make money, but it's like, and then he got mad at Tucker Carlson. Dinesh got all mad at Tucker saying Tucker didn't play enough of it on his show when Tucker literally played 1.5 minutes of it. So it's like, you realize these people's intentions and motives, and it's not necessarily fixing the country. And it's like everybody just does whatever they're told. And it's like, this is the thing. This is what we all think. This is going to fix things. And I'm like watching the documentary and it's like, it's cell phone ping data that doesn't hold up in court. That doesn't even mean anything. Like the average delivery driver will hit 15, spots with ballot boxes in a night, like quite literally, like that doesn't prove anything. Like it's not good proof in any sort of way, but it is a good way to it's like a QAnon. It like strings you along. It's like not quite enough to do anything, but it's enough to just keep you going. And I never JK said there are a lot of people out in your sphere that believe what you espouse. I personally thank you for being a real one and standing up to the shills. Thank you so much, JK. I'm not like I'm making there are times like I do Instagram reels and TikToks and shorter content. And like, that is for the masses. And that is to try to like, get people to see it. And there's things I do to get things seen. Some of these streams are not that. Some of these streams are for people that know what's going on and feel crazy because they're surrounded by crazy people all the time. And 95% of the movement, like can't figure this stuff out. Like that's what these streams are really for those people, so it's like, I know that's not going to be like the most popular thing I've ever said or done, but it is for the couple thousand or 10,000 or 20,000 or however many hear my shows after they're, streamed. Like it's for those people. Thoughts on Dr. Shiva? I like Dr. Shiva. I mean, I don't really follow him, but I like talking to him. He's one of those people that he's always doing like I don't know. He's always doing like, come to my audition or whatever. I don't know. He's like, and I'm like, come to my thing. I'll teach you these things if you go to my class. And it's like, I'm not trying to go to class right now. But like, besides that, like, I like Shiva. A lot of stuff he says, I think like, I do think he's more honest than most people. Like, I don't think he's a bad guy or anything, but I don't follow him enough. Like, I'm not running circles around him or anything, but I don't know. I've talked to him twice, 3 times. He was early on COVID. He was early on Fauci. Like, you got to give credit to Shiva. He was, one of the first people speaking out against what was going on during COVID. And Shiva deserves credit for that. And he deserves, people should remember those moments like Thomas Massey. Shiva was like Thomas Massey level early on that. So I always appreciate that. Appreciate you guys. All right, I don't want to stay too long. I really wanted to keep this one short, but yeah, that's what it is. Thank you guys. And the point of this video really was like, I was just watching everyone's response to New Hampshire. And this is my question. Let me know in the comment section. Do you think there's a method to these people's madness? Because there very well may be. Or do you think that Republican media, like with the New Hampshire primary, first of all, do you think I'm wrong? Do you think they're right? And like they cheated and the Democrats did something totally wrong? And like it really matters to keep talking about it because, somehow that'll help us? Or do you think these are like these secular things where they just they figured out that outrage and playing the victim is like a very profitable formula. So no matter what the situation is, or no matter how big of a deal it is, even if Trump wins, there always is some sort of like victim narrative. Like, okay, he won, but they cheated. He won, but the Democrats did it. And it's like, it's not a closed primary. You're allowed to unregister. If Democrats wanted en masse, they could all like register Republican. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no law to stop. Say if the entire Democratic Party of New Hampshire wanted to unregister and register as a Republican en masse, there's nothing against that. I mean, there's like pros and cons of doing that, but like everyone's acting like it's this shocking, insane strategy that they're doing when it's like basic common sense. Like if you live in an open primary state, why wouldn't you stay unregistered or independent if you could vote in both primaries? That gives you more leverage. I register as a Republican in my state because only Republicans are allowed to vote in Republican primaries. If my state was an open primary, I would be an independent. I would be an independent even if I was allowed to vote in Republican stuff as an independent. The only reason I would unregister tomorrow as a Republican if I lived in New Hampshire because of the laws. Like there's nothing illegal or wrong about that. So I'm just wondering like why are so many Republican pages complaining about stuff that's not real and saying things they're cheating that isn't when it has no influence on the general election. Let me know what you guys think and let me know if I should even cover it or I should just completely ignore it, unfollow people and just try to block it out of my life. Let me know because I'm going to take your considerations very seriously, or I'm going to consider your opinions really seriously. Like I could go 2 routes in the next year. I can unfollow most people and just kind of like block out what they're saying. So then it's not even in my psyche. And then I could just go at topics on my own. Or do you like the fact that I'm tapped into everything? Because then I could like provide analysis of it because I know there's a lot of people that feel the same way. So let me know. I'll consider it. And thank you guys for listening. And thank you for being here. God bless you. Have a beautiful week. And I'm not, life is tough. I do want to end on like a positive note because I did like get upset over like the food and the like some of the, cause the chemicals and the products. But it's like, I don't want people to be afraid of everything. Like you can't, like if you eat a hot dog, like, oh, nitrate, like you'll be fine, right? Like the human body is strong. You could take stuff. I'm not asking people to like not be afraid of everything and germs and stuff. I'm not afraid of germs, but like, can people consider what's going on? Because it's sad to me. Like, it's sad to me every year there's new reports. It's like suicides at record high, more disease, more this, more. And it's not only like sad. I don't get scared often, but it's kind of scary because it's like that number keeps growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. And it's like, how big does it have to get before people can consider what's going on? And a lot of it doesn't even need to be outrage. Like I don't talk about it every stream. I just know about it and I try my best to buy organic. I try my best to, I haven't bought a real bar of soap in 6-7 years. I buy, other types of soap, but it's like, same with all these ingredients. I don't eat perfectly, but I try like 80, 70, 90%. You know, if everyone did that, it would be over. And if anyone cared about it, but like, I feel like political cycles are there to get people not to care about it. You know, I know Thomas Massey talks about it, RFK talks about it, and that's good. But like a lot of these people, they don't. And it's kind of starting to creep me out, you know, because like I don't want to get a disease. I don't want to like turn around and like everybody around me is like sick and stuff. And it feels like that's kind of happening. And I'm not a fear monger, you know what I'm saying? I want people to manifest greatness and good health. But like it's starting to creep me out like more and more, and it's growing and it's growing and growing, and no one talks about it. Sorry for freaking out today and kind of yelling, but like that's what I was yelling about. Not to scare people, not to put bad thoughts in people's heads. I want you to stay healthy, stay positive. I believe that affects your health in general. But like, you know, when are people going to snap out of this in politics? Because just like the left doesn't care about it, the left-right paradigm is preventing people from making this like a top 5 issue. What if Trump or Biden ran on like a real policy of like fixing all of these problems so people didn't have diseases? They're not. But what if they did? Would they even win? Would anyone even care? I mean, RFK is trying to make it part of his platform, which is like the first time that's been part of a platform. It is important. I think he's kind of sneaky in other ways, but like, you know, like what does it say about our country that that's not like a bigger deal than it already is? Let me know. Appreciate you guys. Have a beautiful day. God bless. Stay healthy, stay happy. And just my opinion, I got more content. I'm doing a stream with my friend Andrew today, and we're going to cover like short little clips of like cultural events. Appreciate you guys. Hey, what's going on, my friends? Just a few ways to stay in touch and support if you'd like to. The first way is dreamrare.com. We have blue beanies, black beanies, pink hats, other colored hats, freedom versus tyranny shirts, stay blessed long sleeve, God is great long sleeve, and lots of more cool items coming soon. Dreamrare.com. Check out the shop to support. Everything's made in the United States. Handpicked by me. Patreon.com/raretalk for $5 a month. You can help support me, support the show. If you haven't noticed, unlike other channels, I don't work with very many sponsors, sometimes none at all. And part of the way I'm able to do that is with the dreamrare.com shop and patreon.com/raretalk. So thank you guys for keeping this show free, unimpeded, uninterrupted. I'm forever grateful. My free email list is stayintouchwithme.com. So check the links below in the description, or just type in on any browser, stayintouchwithme.com, all one word. You'll find my email list, put it in there, and it's the least annoying email list you'll ever be on. I barely use it because I don't like getting emailed every day or every week. It's annoying. So I don't do it. Stayintouchwithme.com. It helps me take back some power away from big tech. Telegram, t.me/dreamrarechat or @dreamrarechat. Due to censorship, I post all my live stream and videos there. Sometimes I have some bonus content, and I try to give people a heads up when Facebook or YouTube won't. DreamRareChat at Telegram. My Instagram is @DreamRare. Thanks for everybody following there for shorter content. And DreamRareLinks.com. That's DreamRareLinks.com. Has all my stuff. My podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, my music on Spotify and Apple, my Rumble page, my BitChute and Gab page. All my links are found at DreamRareLinks.com. Thanks for watching, folks. God bless you. You already know I'll be back with more content soon.